congratulations. How do you feel to be the manager of Kilmarnock?
No, I'm delighted. I really am. I think when you have that conversation in the lead up and the build up to coming here and the prospect of it and going through the process, you obviously get an idea set in your mind with the connection that you start to have with people, with my ethos and where I would like the football club to go, and that's sort of married in with the powers that be here and the board that I've spoken to and everybody else I've subsequently met. So for me it's a real positive. For me, I believe that it's a good fit. And then ultimately everything's about when the ball starts rolling, which we all know that we can talk about so many things about your plans and your processes and all the rest of it, but you're always judged when the ball starts rolling. But I can safely say with the nucleus of squad that's here, it's a group that I'm really looking forward to working with, and as I say, the staff have been first class to this point, and it's exciting for me, and hopefully it's exciting for the football club.
Were you at the stage of being very keen to get back in? I'm sure you enjoy the elements of your time away, but was it the time right to get back involved?
Yeah, listen, I think everybody that knows me as a person, because there is always a person behind it, will understand that I'm completely obsessed by the game. Always have been, always wanted to be a manager. Hopefully I've done that now for a good number of games in comparison to my age. But I think what was always important to me, I have been offered jobs since I came out of Motherwell, but what was always important to me was to try and get the right fit for me. That might never come along. I have said that to one or two people that that might not necessarily fit me. There might not be somebody that wants you or connects with your thought process and your feelings. But I think it's safe to say that in conversation, realised pretty quickly, I think both parties that how I would like to move a football club forward really connects with what Kilmarnock have done here. And I need to stress that as well. It's adding to the work that's been done. I think often when you come in as a manager, it's I found myself coming in sort of bottom of the league and prospects maybe not looking great at Motherwell, and very quickly as a group we turned that around. It's a different prospect here. Derek's someone that I respect an awful lot, has done fantastic work here, so it's a slightly different role to come into, I suppose, in many ways. They've seen the real highs of last season, obviously possibly looking for a better league finish this year, but again, it's so difficult in this league. We all know that can fluctuate for one reason or another. European commitments obviously been a big challenge, injuries, etc. But no, it's another very good community club, and something that I feel that I can associate with pretty well.
So when you left Motherwell, resigned from Motherwell at the start of the year, you cited some of the abuse that yourself and your family were taking as well. Did that aspect of the game make you consider twice coming back in so soon? And do you expect that to happen again here at this club?
No, listen, absolutely not. Again, it's the one that I probably feel that I need to shoot down. I think I've been very categoric. If anybody wants to go over and look at any words that I've said and any quotes that I've made, at no point have I ever been asked for a cuddle. At no point have I ever asked anybody to feel sorry for me. I made a decision, stood by my decision, still do to this day. And I say that I've got a pretty strong mind that way in how I see things, and depending on where you are and what your resources are and what position you find yourself in, achievements that have been had within that, then you see a scenario where I believe that I'd made the correct decision at that time. I think what a lot of people do is maybe cling on to words or statements and start writing their own story, but again, I would urge anybody to look at anything I've ever said off the back of that. But what you also do as well, and I believe I'm a humble enough person to admit it, is you learn little bits yourself as well. And one of the things that I've spoken about is that this is my job. It doesn't have to be my family's life, and I really do stand by that. And I think you learn a little bit from within that, and making sure that you do your job and your family live their life. And I'm sure everyone in this room can associate with the family aspect of it. I'm not pulling in the heartstrings. It's just that sometimes you learn a little bit from within that about how close that needs to be, or potentially how far it needs to be.
Did you feel you were a bit hasty when leaving Motherwell?
No, I just said that there. I felt that I made the correct decision at the time for what I felt was a set of circumstances. So no.
Was it said that your family wouldn't be able to come to the games at Motherwell, Stuart, but would they come to the games at Kilmarnock?
Who said that they couldn't come to games at Motherwell? No, it was nothing. There was never anything said that it was, that then becomes a choice. That becomes a choice that everybody has. So from my side of things, that will moving forward become a choice for me. You know, again, you understand that people will jump on that conversation and that topic. But I can categorically tell you that it won't affect me doing my job, and it won't affect my family's life in any way.
When you were going through the process, Stuart, did the people that were interviewing you, board members, etc., did they look for assurances that over what you're saying now about how you're feeling about fan abuse and all the rest?
Yeah, listen, again, I knew that whatever job that I went into next, that you're going to sit here and you're going to field questions about it and you're going to speak about it. And again, I'm not shying away from it. I haven't done since I'd moved on from Motherwell. But it wasn't something that was addressed heavily in an interview process. You know, you touch on certain aspects and you touch on pointers of that. But again, I certainly wouldn't hide from speaking to you guys or a board or a supporter or anybody on that front. I haven't done to this point, and I won't do moving forward. What
do you think sold the people making the decision on you? What do you conceive going forward for this club?
Yeah, I think the first place you need to start is you need to win games of football, and I would hope that within my charge that I've been able to show that record, that win percentage is up there, is good. So I think that's where you always start. Again, we can talk about how we're going to try and get that to a point and how you're going to try and win games. I hope I've shown that. But second and third for me, I think, if you understand me, again, that player development, so trying to ensure that you can continue the pathway of guys like Bobby Wales and Davy Watson here, and try and see if we can unearth another few players from what's been a successful academy team this season under the guidance of Chris Burke, you know, going to win the Youth Cup and be very competitive in that league. That doesn't mean that we're just going to bring 10, 11, 12 young kids in straight off the bat, but what I want to do is try and make sure that there is a pathway, which there has been before, and to try and accelerate that process as much as we can. And then probably the third bit is the bit that I see for every football club in Scotland, which is that you have to try and ensure that you're involved in player trading. You have to make sure that the football club tries to turn some sort of profit, that you're able to bring in rough diamonds or academy players. And I believe we're all selling clubs in this country, and that's probably the three main factors that were covered between myself and the board, and that we felt that we've seen a lot of those things in a very similar light.
I guess the kind of hard work starts now, doesn't it, in terms of maybe re-signing players who are out of contract, you know, bringing players in to strengthen your squad. Where are you with that kind of side of things?
Well, I've been trying to do a little bit of that as much as I can. I feel it's a fact-finding mission as much as you possibly can. The one thing and I would need to stress is that I believe there's a really good nucleus of players here, a lot of players that I've admired from afar. Some of the lads you know better than others, but we're without question going to have to add some bodies. We've got a lot of out-of-contract players. We've got that sort of tighter-knit group there that know the league and know the demands of winning games of football at this level. So yeah, we've been actively trying to work through that process as to where we are with contract players, guys that are under contract, and kind of what we need to do. You'll understand it's been difficult in the last couple of days until we get to this point here today, but very much that process has started for us, and to try and make sure that we can be as prepared as we possibly can be when we return in the kind of mid part of June.
Sure, your predecessor took the club to European football. Do you feel that this is a club that should be playing in Europe?
It should be. I don't think you could ever say that, to be honest with you. It has been done before, a brilliant achievement, but I think when you start to stack the city clubs up, when you look at your Rangers, Celtic, Hearts, Hibs, Aberdeens, it's possible. It is possible, but I think it's always a very, very difficult task for clubs out with that bracket. I think we'll all understand that the resources are far greater at the city clubs, but I think what it has stressed with a number of clubs, Kilmarnock being one of them, is that it can be achievable.
Sure, you spoke about there maybe learning that it doesn't have to become your family's life as well. Have you learned a bit more about yourself and the game, maybe having a bit of objectivity for the past few months and being outside of it? I'm not going to be pig-headed in that way and say that I've not. I don't feel that's been the biggest factor. As I say, felt when I left Motherwell, I had 100% backing of the board, the players, and the staff. I think that's
pretty fair to say at the time when you're maybe sitting 5th in the league or whatever. So I feel that the kind of mechanism and the model, if you like, and how I work is fine. I think that helps in terms of winning games and trying to develop players and trying to nurture players. I believe that. I think everybody should sit here with a game model and a process in their head. But I think you look at tweaks within that and ways that you want to do things better, given the set of circumstances. So I'm always trying to evolve that way. I've spent some time, fortunately enough, a few weeks ago to be out at a big club with a top manager that I really respect, and I've come away with some nuggets there. But I think it always has to be your version, it always has to be your stamp on it, and it always has to be in relation to the club you work in. You know, we've all seen everybody will sit with Pep's book and think that they can coach a team as rhyme and verse from that. It depends on the players you work with, it depends on the resources you've got. So I feel that I have a pretty good model to work with the resources that I have here, and it'll be put to the test again, and it'll come with pressure and it'll come with demands, but I'm absolutely fine with that. I'm really comfortable with that, and as I say, you want to try and get off to a good start, so it's important for us to try and get this pre-season right and to try and get a recruitment process right within that.
Given it's such a changing landscape in terms of managers in the Scottish Premiership, does that make it more interesting, more exciting going into next season and get all these new teams playing different styles?
No, I think it just sums up Scottish football, doesn't it? I know we laugh about that and we joke, and I certainly don't laugh in terms of anybody that loses their job. I think it's just the uncertainty of Scottish football and sort of what that brings. But you know, there could be one or two different faces and different names with completely different thought processes which change things. But for me, I can promise you over the last couple of days, all my focus has been on has been Kilmarnock and trying to ensure that we're in the best possible place, not come the start of the league season, but to come the start of the League Cup campaign, because I think we kind of overshadow that at times and just talk about it being pre-season. It's absolutely not. It's competitive games of football in a competition. Fortunately last year I was fortunate enough to get to the semi-final of, and understanding what that brings, you know, so for me it's making sure we're ready for that and not focusing too much on anything else. I think if you're looking sideways, we're going backwards. You know, if you're looking at other teams and what's changing there, then we're sort of losing focus on what we're trying to do and what we're trying to achieve.
And just if you've got a message for the Kilmarnock fans, what is a Stuart Kettlewell team going to look like here in the club?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things in it. Hopefully from my side, yeah, I believe it's always been a model that's allowed players to grow. I think that has been evidenced, and again, that's not to massage my ego. I think that the facts will tell you that. I think what it's always been has been organised. I sort of pride myself in making sure that everybody knows as many of the details, if not every detail, of their job. But I think what we've probably shown over a period of time, and what is it, more than 200 games the manager is, there's a kind of never say die attitude within that. Might be down in a game of football, but always having that personality and that character to be able to fight and scrap towards the end. And I think probably last of all, what you'll see is a versatile team. It needs to be in this league. So many different games, different surfaces, etc. You have to be well versed in every aspect of it. So that'll be my intention, to try and instill that, my version of it, here at the football club. And I would expect and I would hope that the supporters would see that very early.
Stuart, can you tell us, you might not want to tell us who the manager was you spent time with and what you kind of found valuable from that point of view?
No, I don't think it's not a big secret as such. It was spending a little bit of time at Everton and, you know, being able to spend time with guys like Alan Irvine and David Moyes. You know, it was over 1,200 games of football at the top level, so you learn a thing or two from those experiences.
What was that, just a few days down?
Just spent a day with them, yeah, just training, you know, kind of behind the scenes, good conversations, picking their brain on the challenges that they've faced or not sometimes. I think that's another thing that sometimes comes to light. You don't often go to a club, you sometimes don't go to a club when everything's broken, and that was something that they stressed going into Everton, that they actually inherited a lot of good things. So just little bits like that you definitely take value from.